I'm freaking blown away by this. I don't understand it at all.
Just randomly in the middle of the forest, in the middle of nowhere, this... I don't even know. Anyway. Okay, my husband is on it. It's crazy. Like, where did this come from? Let me show you around surrounding areas. Hold on. Okay, so we can't figure out where this came from. How crazy. I'm gonna walk up to it. Okay, so here's my Forerunner. There's nothing else weird around here. And this is the craziest thing. And I don't want somebody's lame ass reasoning for this because there honestly isn't one.
Well, there's no trees broken.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Look up the hill. Not even there.
Yeah. There's nothing. That's crazy. So this is up close. What? How does this even happen? We've gone up this road. There's never been anything here. How? And my husband climbed it, so it's like sturdy. What the hell? I'm sorry, this is giving me the heebie-jeebies. This is like too weird.
Yeah, I don't understand this at all. Like, maybe this is common. The part that gets me before, she says it's they've been here before. And look at the road. The road is like gravel and it's hard packed dirt. This thing is solid. It's wedged so securely that her husband was able to climb it. I have so many questions. Like, did it fall from a much taller tree nearby? Like, I see the bark scattered on the ground. Could that have peeled off when it slammed? Is that even possible? Many are pointing to stories of Bigfoot using logs and tree trunks as territorial markers or even roadblocks. That would be insane because the couple, they said they've driven back there before. Drop your theories down below. Check this clip out from Mike Rugg from the Bigfoot Discovery Project. He's going over a picture of a Bigfoot ambush blind.
And we think it's actually a blind where something would sit and wait for animals to jump out and grab an animal by surprise. A halfway shelter, but not really meant to be a shelter per se. So the reason I've got it up here is because we were doing some research on this a couple of years ago, and I've never talked about this before, but I went up there one morning with Greg, the man who's holding the camera that's pointed at this right at this moment, and Greg and I went up to check out the stick house, and I'll show you. Here's a picture that Greg took with his digital camera. He snapped off one shot and then looked at it and noticed this strange phenomenon, and then shot another one, and there was nothing in the picture like this at all. We looked, our breath wasn't showing, so we really can't figure out exactly what created this this image, this white stuff that looks almost like ectoplasm here. And interestingly enough, if you look at it real close and let your mind wander, you can make out all sorts of faces in there. But anyway, it's just kind of a peculiar picture.
That's pretty insane. What a structure. Also, what do you guys think about the ethereal type smoke, or the ectoplasm as he called it? It's definitely pretty odd. Okay, what is going on here? A home in the desert of Utah, with no neighbors within 25 miles, had 3 full-grown dead cows on the roof of this little cabin. One guy said that he's pretty sure a tornado picked them up and put them there. Well, I'm pretty sure that didn't happen. I'd love to know your thoughts or theories about this. Like, could a predator have done this? Anyhow, if you have any idea, fill the rest of us in. Okay, I'm back. I couldn't stop thinking about these photos, so I went back to them. I scrolled all the way down in the comments on Reddit, and I think this guy figured it out. There were so many crazy explanations, but this guy says they were likely put there by humans to dehydrate the remains faster and sun bleach the bones. I live around reserves where this is quite common with deer carcasses instead of cows. This seems like the most reasonable explanation, and you can see they actually do have straps around their necks if you look at the pictures. This story comes from a woman named Letty who lives on her family farm. It's the kind of place where silence runs deep. Weeks, months, years, no people pass this particular area. Her land is not easy ground. The slopes are steep, way more brutal than they look in this picture. And from top to bottom, thorn patches 3 feet high sprawl across the hillside, thick enough to slice skin and snag clothing. Anyone moving through would be forced to fight their way past the terrain itself. Mounted on a tree at the edge of this slope, 8 feet off the ground, a trail camera watches over this area. Its position was chosen carefully. It shows the only area that someone might even attempt to try to get on the property. This particular camera is rarely even checked. It's mostly empty frames, maybe a deer or two, squirrels. Well, until now. A single image froze Letty in her tracks. In the photograph, something tall and long limbs strides across the slope. It's caught mid-step as though it's running. At first glance, it's obvious it doesn't resemble any type of wildlife. It's not a deer, not livestock, definitely not anything familiar. Its arms are abnormally long, as well as the stride. But most unsettling of all, where's it coming from? The trail cam is really set up to capture anyone coming up the hill. Letty says that no one in her family can actually remember an instance of the camera picking up anything coming from that direction. Her son loves to check the cameras, and he says maybe there was a deer one time. Letty has never been one to believe in tales or cryptids or anything paranormal. Of course, she's heard of Bigfoot, she's heard whispers of skinwalkers, but she chalked those up to stories, nothing more. Still, when her son saw this image, he insisted she send it out. If it were a trespasser or a poacher, they'd have to be reckless beyond reason to cross this patch of land. She agreed to send it in, and honestly, she goes back to the land. Like, if it's a trespasser or a poacher, she says they'd have to be reckless beyond reason to cross this patch of land. There's nothing there. There's no reason. She's probably more blown away by that than anything. But if it isn't a person, could it be a Bigfoot, a skinwalker, something else? Letty doesn't claim to know, but it has her attention. She can't believe that the most ill-producing trail cam has captured one unexplained image which may be more disturbing than anything else the land has to offer. I'm very intrigued by this one. Let's get on down into the comments and talk about this. I recently came across this photo. Raw, no caption, no location, nothing but the image. Look closely, the stance, the build, the backdrop. It doesn't carry the vibe of a setup or prank. There's like an unsettling authenticity to it. Encounters are often reported on the fringes of big forests like this. I don't know. If the scene looks familiar, or better yet, if you've experienced anything similar, drop your thoughts down below. Yeah, imagine stumbling into the woods and finding not just a skull or two, but entire piles of bones. Skulls, jaws, vertebrae spread across the forest floor like some kind of open-air graveyard. That's exactly what hikers have reported in this wooded area. The collection is staggering. Dozens of deer skulls, jawbones lined with teeth, vertebrae stacked like puzzle pieces. There are cats, dogs. It doesn't look random. It looks deliberate, like someone or something has been leaving trophies behind. Theories spread fast. Some believe it's the work of a wild predator, maybe a pack of coyotes, or even mountain lions dragging their kills to the same spot over time. Others take it a step further, saying this looks eerily like a Bigfoot stockpile. Evidence of a creature not just hunting, but hoarding. Online, the debate rages. Is this proof of some killer creature living in the woods? Is there a person or a group of people involved sacrificing these animals? Of course, not everyone is convinced this is nefarious. Skeptics are arguing that these bones could easily be the result of roadkill dumps, where carcasses collected off highways are tossed into remote woods to decompose. Others chimed in that this is way too many to be a roadkill site, and this is remnants of a poacher's kill site. Someone illegally hunting, stripping meat, and leaving the bones behind. I mean, whatever it is, the way they're grouped together does seem to suggest that human hands at some point were involved. I think the sheer number of skulls is what unsettles most people. Too many, too organized, too strange. What the heck are we looking at? And let me know if you've ever come across a bone pile like this. Rush hour in South Dallas, cars jammed up on the freeway. Then suddenly, something massive bolts across the lanes. Drivers are dumbfounded. For a split second, every eye is glued to this towering dark figure moving faster than anything human. It happened right off exit 425, near the Dallas Zoo and the edge of the Trinity River Preserve, a place already dense with woods and shadows. Not where you'd expect to see a giant creature crossing 4 lanes of traffic in broad daylight. Yet dozens of people swear they saw it. Witnesses describe it as huge, arms longer than a man's, hair hanging down, leaping across the road in 3 strides before vanishing into the tree line. One driver even said it was bigger than a car. And the reaction? It was pure chaos. Some are actually convinced that they watched an escaped gorilla sprint across the freeway. Others are convinced they saw a Bigfoot. Now, I'll admit the Bigfoot angle is tempting. The size, the build, the speed, it ticks all the boxes. But here's where I don't want to rain on the parade. To me, this has all the hallmarks of a bear. South Dallas sits close to thick green corridors where wildlife can roam, and bears are known to rear up on 2 legs, covering ground quickly before dropping back down. To excited eyes in traffic, that could easily look like a Sasquatch. I'm leaning more towards a bear just in the wrong place at the wrong time, but I could be persuaded. If you've driven that stretch and never spotted something strange, oh yeah, let us know. Okay, I don't have the sharpest technological eye. I'm not up to date on the latest artificial intelligence capabilities. But I do know this. This ain't real. The story is a bulky humanoid figure stopped right in the camera's eye. We can see the image is broad-shouldered, thick-bodied, but entirely hairless. Now, if you block the face out and you just look at the body, you could see that this could be a person. Like, the figure's muscular, but not overly muscular. The shoulders are a little weird, but as soon as you look at the face, you realize, oh, no, this is not a human. Honestly, and again, I don't think this is real, but this is not something you'd want to run into in the woods. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. Curious to your thoughts, is this a fake or are we in big trouble?
Okay, I'm not going to stay here very long because I don't even want to get near the bed. I mean, I'm going to look in it and see if I see some hair or anything like that, any bio artifacts, I guess you could say.
Bigfoot researcher Steve O'Neill believes he has stumbled on Bigfoot's lair. He notices fresh bedding made out of rhododendron.
Well, the Sasquatch bed is still there, but it looks different. A lot less pine this time. I still see pine underneath. The rhodo, but mostly rhodo. Very interesting. And it's bigger. And the rhodo looks really fresh. Well, I get stuff ready. Okay, I'm not going to stay here very long because I don't even want to get near the bed. I mean, I'm going to look in it and see if I see some hair or anything like that, any bio artifacts, I guess you could say.
O'Neill isn't personally sticking around, but he is going to attach a trail camera to this tree. He's attaching it so that it captures any Bigfoot that would be walking into this nest.
So I think the camera is angled pretty well towards the Sasquatch bed. And now all I need to do is arm it and get out of here. So let's do that. Okay, one thing I want to do here before I leave the site and before I set up the camera is check this bed for any new hair. I need is light. Let me get my light. Oh look, hair. Oh, it's a totally different kind of hair. That looks like human hair. Oh wow, I need to collect this. I'm not going to touch it. I need to get my gloves.
Inside, he discovers a clump of dark, almost human-like hair. But the real magic happens when he returns 3 days later. O'Neill was returning for his trail cam. And this is what it captured. To him, it's a chilling sign. Something powerful is guarding its space, and it doesn't want to be touched. This photo was taken by what the family calls the back low, a game camera set low to the ground at the far end of the property. It's one of the busiest spots they monitor, with hogs showing up on the card almost every week. But on this night, instead of hogs, the camera captured something else. At first it just looks like motion blur, but when you stop and focus you can see it clearly. I mean, whatever it is, the figure is massive, moving low to the ground. Limbs and torso way too big to be human. Its build is thick, powerful, and the face doesn't resemble any animal the family has ever seen out there. The family says strange noises have been reported on the property before, the sense of being shadowed while they're hunting, but they never had proof. Some who've seen the photo think it matches the description of the dogman, while others lean toward the skinwalker stories. Whatever it is, the blur make it looks like it's on a mission, or it's like mid-charge. Like, what's on the other side of that trail cam? What makes it so disturbing is that this is the only shot. There's no sequence, it's just a single frame of something ripping through the woods. Since this was taken, the family has been checking the camera every night. Half of them are actually excited. Anyhow, they're hoping we can help them out, so if you have any idea of what this could be, put it in the comments. I mean, just take the entire vehicle. This isn't a black snake, this is a cobra. Yeah, the car is all yours. You are now the proud owner of a 1987 Toyota Camry.
Mga kablising oh! Unang huli ko!
I just think that this guy enjoyed this a little too much. A man out diving is just enjoying his day. He snatches this little octopus from the ocean floor, and things take a turn. Now, I don't know if this guy's in any real danger, but that octopus looks like it has a grip on him much harder than I anticipated. The one tentacle has slid right over his mouth. I mean, the strength on this little guy is noted.
You ain't gonna believe me. I know you ain't gonna believe me, but I just got picked up and I got marks on me where they just scraped me and everything like that, and they set me in a parking lot in John Day, Oregon. And what happens, I left a bar, and I'd like somebody to get the hell down here. I have a military record, and I have no such record of any scars on me where they scraped me. So please get the hell down here.
The phone rang in the darkness, cutting through the silence of Robert Gribble's office. As founder of the National UFO Reporting Center, he'd answered thousands of calls since establishing the hotline in 1974. Most were curious observers, a few were hoaxsters, but the voice on the other end that night was different. This man was terrified. "You have to believe me," the voice trembled through the static. "They took me. They actually took me." The caller identified himself as a former hospital corpsman from the Navy. His words slurred slightly from alcohol, but his terror crystal clear. He'd been drinking at a local bar when it happened. One moment ordering another beer, the next finding himself 6 blocks away in an empty parking lot with no memory of how he got there.
But you describe exactly what happened right from the beginning.
Hey man, they had eyes about, 4 inches wide, and maybe a little shorter than me, and I'd like somebody to get the hell down here. I have a military record, and I ain't that damn drunk, man, that I don't remember. I guarantee you that.
But it wasn't the missing time that haunted him most. It was the eyes. Their eyes were 4 inches wide, he kept repeating. 4 inches, I can't get them out of my head. The beings, he claimed, had conducted a series of medical experiments. Needles pierced his skin. Samples were extracted from his throat. Most disturbingly, they collected his genetic material. A detail that would become disturbingly common in abduction reports for decades to follow.
I know what they look like, man. Hey, I'd be willing to take a lie detector test or hypnosis or whatever the trip you want to do. But I know I've seen them, man, and that's good enough for me. Dig it all, man. I got scars on me I've never had in my life. And I've been in the United States Navy, and I don't like these scars on me that I've never had.
Throughout the 20-minute call, the man desperately tried to establish his credibility. "I'm not crazy," he pleaded. "I served in Vietnam. I was a corpsman. I know what real trauma looks like. This wasn't a flashback. This was real." When Gribble called the local police later that day, the responding officer's account only deepened the mystery. "We found him sitting in the middle of the parking lot," the officer confirmed. Wild with fear but completely lucid.
I don't know, I've seen a number of flashbacks and stuff like that, you know. And this is what it really looked like, except that he was able to recognize people. You know, I mean, he wasn't really out of it. He made statements like he got a finger wave and they kept specimens of his sperm, and they looked into his ear and they took a big long swab and did something to the inside of his throat, and his throat was sore. You know, I mean, on and on and on.
The officer had run a background check. The man's service record was legitimate. His time in Vietnam was documented. His medical training was real. So whatever happened to him that night, he firmly believes every word of it.
And they don't believe me either, man. They think I'm a nut. Hey, I know you don't believe me either, man, but you know, nobody ain't gonna believe me. I know they ain't gonna believe me, man.
What makes this even creepier is that the John Day incident wasn't isolated. That summer, Oregon experienced what researchers now called a flap, a concentrated period of unusual activity. Reports flooded in from across the state. Families described being followed by mysterious lights. One man reported 3 black triangular craft hovering over his property, followed by a complete memory gap involving his entire family. Most chilling was his encounter afterward. A strange man in a black suit appeared at his door, warning him to forget what you think you saw. The visitor left no identification, no business card, and when neighbors were questioned, no one remembered seeing anyone matching his description in the area. The John Day caller was never heard from again. Not being from the area originally, he vanished as quickly as he'd appeared, leaving behind only the haunting audio recording of his desperate pleas for someone, anyone, to believe him. Experts say that what makes this case particularly unsettling isn't its uniqueness. It's how perfectly it fits a pattern that the National UFO Reporting Center has documented for nearly 50 years. Large eyes, medical experimentation, missing time, genetic sampling. The details repeat across thousands of reports from individuals who have never met, never spoken, never coordinated their stories. And today, the hotline continues to ring, the database continues to grow, and somewhere in those thousands of desperate voices lies a truth that conventional science isn't ready to acknowledge. We are not alone, and whatever is visiting us has a very specific agenda. The question doesn't feel like if these encounters are real. It's more so, what do they want with us? Jenny was looking toward the rocks when she suddenly said she saw something dark slip into what looked like a cave. At first, everyone thought it might just be her imagination, but the timing was suspicious. They had just found fresh bear scat and some pretty large, unidentifiable tracks not too far away. The guy filming zoomed his camera in on the opening, trying to see if anything was moving. He admitted he thought he'd seen something shift inside, and the idea that a bear had ducked in there to avoid them would have made sense. While keeping the camera on the cave, they started scanning the ground nearby. That's when they spotted what looked like the hind print of a bear in the soft pine needles. Between that and the dung they had already come across, the evidence was pointing pretty clearly to a black bear. But for a while there, their adrenaline was pretty high, thinking they might have just come across a Bigfoot. Also, let's not forget, this is a bear we're talking about, so you're still in its domain, you are not out of harm's way. With that, the group didn't want to take chances. They stayed back, kept filming, but you could tell the tension was rising. And right when they were deciding if they should push closer or leave, the rain started coming down. They thought it was an omen. It was at least enough to make the choice easy. They decided to pack it up. In the end, what Jenny thought might have been something mysterious turned out to be another reminder of just how close these encounters with wildlife can get. In 2008, a man inherited some land from his grandfather who passed away. On it, he found some trail cameras. After he retrieved the SD card, and while most of them just showed clips of the wilds of Montana, one particular pic stood out. As he was scanning through the usual images of deer and small game, he stopped cold on one frame. Standing just off center was a dark, upright figure. Taller than any man he knew, with long limbs. Like anyone, he thought it was a bear. But as he looked closer, it appears to stride on 2 legs. It's actually caught mid-step in this photo. The photo was later shared with professors at a nearby university. To the family's surprise, no one could provide a clear explanation. In one section, they're quoted as saying, "The subject is too slim for a bear, too stocky for a man. How about he's covered in hair? That's a pretty good tell." The man wonders if his grandfather knew about this creature and if he left that trail camera out there for him specifically. But skepticism lingers. Some are saying that it is definitely a bear if it's real. Others are saying the entire thing is made up. The guy's made up. There's no grandfather trail cam story. That this is actually Photoshop or whatever. I don't know. Something about it seems kind of real to me. It could also just be a prank. A hunter in a costume hoping to spark up some talk. Whatever it is, it's one of those camera captures that sits uneasily between possibility and hoax. If real, one of the most startling clips shows a figure racing toward the camera. It had the broad chest and upright stance of a man, but its head is unmistakably canine. The image suggests that this is some type of dogman or werewolf. The unsettling part isn't just the way it looks, but its urgency. Like, this isn't a creature just drifting by the camera or accidentally crossing frame. It looks aware, deliberate, almost aggressive. For believers, this was groundbreaking evidence, sharper than the usual blurry silhouettes. Yet doubt hangs over the photo. Some argue the crispness itself is what condemns it. Modern AI image generators can create figures with uncanny realism, and the too perfect details give it away. Others proposed it might just be someone in a costume, staged to prey on those eager for proof. Still, when seen without context, the frame is hard to dismiss. Real or fake, it grips the imagination in a way few Trailcam photos can. Charles hadn't expected anything unusual when he flipped through the photos he'd taken along the Chippewa River earlier that spring. The shots were ordinary, tree, water, brush, until one image stopped him cold. It was a figure that didn't quite fit. Its outline was broad and human-like, but far too large, almost camouflaged in the shadows. Charles remembered that this wasn't the first time something strange had come out of that area. Over the years, he'd tracked massive footprints in the sand and along muddy banks. And now, staring at the photograph, he realized that perhaps the tracks weren't just passing through. Perhaps whatever left them had been watching all along, blending into the forest and keeping itself just far enough away to remain unseen, until this accidental capture on film. Have you guys seen the Patterson-Gimlin enhanced footage? Check this out. Researcher M.K. Davis enhanced the video and cleaned up the picture with AI. The haters are calling this BS, but true Bigfoot enthusiasts, they're pumped up. They want to see more. The old clip was cleaned up so well it appears you can see the creature's eyes. A little spooky if you ask me. What do you guys think? After hearing some startling growls at the back of this property coming from the woods, these men are determined to find out who or what is making this noise.
Whoa, stop.
What was that? What was that?
Dude, that sounded like a growl.
That was a growl. And it was decently close.
Yeah, that wasn't Dude, that is a growl.
It is a growl. Fall back up this way.
You know, I picture myself like, that's a little too deep and powerful for my liking. I'm gonna head out. Reminds me of that Simpsons gif where the grandpa walks in the bar and then walks right back out. Yep. But I'm definitely interested in seeing whatever you pick up on this film. I'll just be back in the house. In August of this year, a trail camera on a secluded farm in Missouri captured something its owner can't explain. At first, it looked like just another motion alert from swaying branches, but when he opened the photo on his phone, he saw a massive figure standing in the middle of the creek. The camera wasn't even meant for wildlife. It had been set up to monitor creek levels after flooding washed away a kayak earlier that summer. Normally, it only caught leaves moving in the breeze. That afternoon, while eating lunch with his wife, the landowner's phone buzzed with an alert. Expecting nothing, he tapped the app, then froze. Something huge was upright in the water, facing his camera. He about jumped out of his skin, pulled up the live feed, but by the time it loaded, the figure was gone. Hours later, he returned with his brother to investigate. No tracks marked the banks, just gravel that leaves no impression. This is the shoreline. And this is the entire area around. As you can see, it's a giant tree right here and about an 8-foot cliff, so it'd be very difficult for someone to jump down or jump up. And then the camera is right up there where Will's at, and we're trying to trigger it from here because I'm not big enough to do it. So the man's brother, who stands about 6 feet tall, posed in the same spot for comparison. The figure in the original photo was several feet taller and 2 or 3 times wider. The brothers repeated the test 2 days later with the same camera, same angle, same time of day. The results confirmed it. Whatever was in that first photo was far bigger than a man. It was brown and black in color, standing on 2 legs, appearing to walk toward the camera. Neighbors had long whispered about strange howls in the woods. Until now, he'd always dismissed them as coyotes. But with this image in hand, and the sheer size difference against his brother, the landowner is convinced his camera caught Bigfoot. And here's the eerie part. The photo wasn't even triggered by the creature itself. It only fired because leaves fluttered in the front of the lens at just the right second. If not for that chance moment, this figure would have never have ever been seen. So, what do you think? Did a Missouri Trailcam really capture proof of a Bigfoot in broad daylight? Could there be another explanation for what's in this photo? I'll keep you posted because the Bigfoot Research Organization is doing an investigation. In the summer of 2011, a simple family photo taken at a creek in rural western Oregon revealed something no one expected. That day, the only people there were a mother with her 2 daughters and the photographer's young son, who actually stayed out of the water. The picture was snapped on an old iPhone. Nothing unusual, just kids playing around. But days later, when the family finally had service and sent the photo to the rest of the family, everyone noticed it. In the top left corner, another girl was standing in the creek. A girl who wasn't with them, and no one remembered her being there. The mother who received the photo instantly replied, "Who the heck is that?" Some suggested the figure could have been the ghost of a drowning victim. The family couldn't rule that out. Some weird things have happened on this property. For instance, their grandparents' first home on the land mysteriously burned down, and both sisters recalled eerily similar nightmares tied to that property. So what do you think? Did this family capture a drowning victim from years ago in this photo? Imagine waking up, heading to work before sunrise, only to catch something gigantic standing in a creek bed behind your home. Well, that's exactly what happened in the Appalachian foothills where Kentucky, Tennessee, and Virginia all meet. Brian wrote into the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization to share what his friend captured just outside his backyard. The man had been dealing with strange problems on his property for a while. Odd noises at night, unsettling feelings when stepping outside. On this particular morning, he spotted movement in the creek as he was leaving for work and decided he better film this. The video shows a massive, dark figure in the water, its domed head and broad frame barely visible in the low light. But what stood out most were the eyes, Brian explained. I zoomed in on my iPhone and I'm convinced. Definite eye shine. To him, there was no mistaking it. Something was staring back at them from the creek. When the footage was enlarged, 200%, then 300%, the shape held up. Not a blur, not a shadow. It looked like a massive creature with its head angled down, possibly foraging in the water before realizing it had been spotted. Even though it was dark, the iPhone captured the outline surprisingly well, right down to the shine of the eyes. Nobody knows what to think here. For a place already rich in Appalachian legends, the encounter added another layer of mystery. Brian said his friend is just looking for answers. It started with nothing more than a few baby monitor alerts, but by the end of the week, one family was so shaken they packed up and left their home for good. While on vacation with his wife and young daughter, a detective began getting motion notifications from the baby monitor back at his house. Strange things had happened there before. Objects moving, noises in the night, but nothing that ever screamed ghost. Still, he always had it in the back of his mind. And one evening, as the family sat down for dinner, he got an alert from inside the house. What he saw made his blood run cold. In the live image of his daughter's bedroom, a figure appeared. What looked like a little girl crawling through the bedroom. Yet no one was supposed to be there. Reddit user Kdrad, who posted this to Reddit, said that the detective called his dad and literally begged him to go clear the house. His dad rushed over and searched the home from top to bottom. Nothing, no intruder, no signs of forced entry, no noises, just silence. But that couldn't be. They had the photo, a figure caught where no one should have been. Even the detective, who's trained to find rational explanations, couldn't shake it. And his friend that cleared the house never believed in ghosts, but he admitted that this picture is unsettling. When the family returned from vacation, they didn't waste time. Within days, they were house hunting. And within a week, they had already moved out. So what do you guys think? Could this have somehow been some weird interference over the baby monitor? Did this family capture proof of something stalking their child's room while they were away? I mean, this is freaky. Reddit user OKThanks3022 posted a creepy clip which shows some type of apparition walking through her workplace. As a manager, she has access to the security cameras. And early one morning, this figure, this apparition, this mist, triggered the motion sensor cameras. At first, she thought there might be a reasonable explanation. Like maybe someone walked by outside, there was some type of reflection, it triggered the cameras. But as you watch again, you can see that this figure pretty much moves through the tables and the chairs. And on top of that, she says this has never happened before. People walk by all the time. I gotta be honest, I don't really have any idea what this could be other than some type of ghost. Nevertheless, I'm curious if anyone has any insight on something like this. Very similarly to the last apparition clip, this homeowner caught this figure moving through their yard. Now here's the creepy part. When this alert went off, Jake and his wife had just gone inside. They had been enjoying a drink down on their back patio. Once they get inside, Jake gets another alert, and it's this thing moving through their yard. Again, he says its backyard is small. There shouldn't have been anyone back there. The couple is freaked out. Was someone hiding on the fence line waiting for them to go inside? Is this some type of apparition, a ghost? Man, I don't know. I tell you, it's freakier, scarier thinking that someone might be laying wait in the dark. I don't know. Maybe this is one of the times you pray that this was a ghost. Jake says he'll keep us posted, so I'll keep my eye out. This new crystal clear photo of a cryptid found in the Appalachian woods has people going crazy. We see its slender build covered in black hair, and honestly it looks pretty freaky. And then we realize it's someone's dog. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine how far down the line this would have gone if, you know, someone really did blur the face of this or did something to it? Because it doesn't look like a dog until you look at its face. Anyway, super cool picture. A Reddit user on the Bigfoot subreddit posted this photo of this boulder on top of this tree trunk, asking, who in the heck is strong enough to put this here? Naturally, myself and many others figured that it was Bigfoot. But like any good detective, I went to the comments. And I actually thought this one was pretty interesting. Check this out. Actually, there are a bunch of comments, but basically, guys are saying that if they were on a logging crew or any other type of work like that, they would leave something like this to just mess with people. And I'm no hater. I'd probably do the same thing. On the flip side, I'd have to admit, if I was walking through the woods and I saw this, I would be like, what? Anyhow, let me know if you've seen anything like this, or maybe you're not buying the logging story. Maybe you think Bigfoot really put this up there. If so, let me know.
Воду разносят, я вижу, в воде просто трындец. Куда вот это заехать? Твою мать, что за наклон? Не знаю, видно нет, эта фигня крутится. Ты вот это не снимаешь, как смерч сраный. О, моё! Сейчас нас погибать.
This footage, taken by some men on a commercial fishing boat, had people questioning everything. We see this massive, mist-like tunnel reaching from the sky to the water. At first glance, I thought this was the typical water spout that you'll see in the water sometimes. But now I'm not so sure. Look at how high this thing stretches into the sky. One of the commenters said that this is definitely aliens in a UFO siphoning water from our planet and taking it back home. And honestly, golly, that doesn't even feel that crazy to me. Maybe it is. I don't know. We have some really smart people in the comments normally. I'm going to assume that this is some type of natural reaction to something or some type of environmental phenomenon I don't know about. But I can't totally put to bed the idea that this isn't aliens, so I'd love to know your thoughts. What a security camera in Italy's Garden of Nympha captured is going to blow you away. Known as a tourist attraction and a place of solace, the garden is found outside the city of Rome. A motion-activated security camera seems to capture a body, or half a body, crawling through the garden. Now, the question is this an actual person, or is this some type of apparition? It appears translucent, and again, it looks almost like half a body, crawling. Could this be the ghost of a soldier caught on this side? Is this some type of interference from another channel? Maybe it's just a hoax. I don't know. I have major questions with this one. I feel like if it was a hoax, walking across the screen in a ghostly apparition is enough. You didn't have to crawl. Let us read your thoughts in the comments. Can you imagine just enjoying a minute to yourself, scrolling on your phone when... Yep, that is a bear that has sniffed me. A few things pop into my mind when I see this. First of all, she was pretty relaxed. I mean, she was startled, but she didn't have a heart attack. Another thing is, I wonder how long the bear looked at her before deciding to walk up on her. As a society, man, we are addicted to our technology. I mean, if this isn't the poster clip for that, then I don't know what to say. A literal black bear, apex predator, snuck up on you. Well, actually, probably just walked up on you, and you didn't even notice. Hey, I'm not saying I'm above it. I might have gotten eaten. I'm just saying we're too attached to our technology. How'd Grammy die? Well, she was scrolling Facebook in the backyard and a bear ate her. Well, anyhow, glad she survived this. I bet she will be a little more on her toes next time. I need your help on this one. I can no longer even guess what these noise ones are, these vocals, these primal noises coming out of the woods. I can't even guess.
Alright, we're just out here fishing. You guys hear that? It's a couple. Sounds like a large male. Adolescent. That one sounds close. It's an island. That is an island right there. Must be out fishing.
And I say that because what I heard the other night behind my house, the noise this fox was making, I mean, it sounded like someone was being brutally murdered. We had the TV on, and I swear it sounded like it was in my kitchen. That's how loud it was. It just penetrated into the house. My dog started going nuts. I wish I could have gotten some of it on camera. When I went out to the back deck, I could see the eye shine of it. It ran away and kind of stopped and looked back at me. Next thing you know I have my cat running in the house. So, I don't know. Oh man, it would have been a real shame if he had gotten my cat. I kid. Don't eat the cat.
There they are. There they are. They're going this way. Tanya, you recorded them. There they are. Look at them. There they are. There they are. Which way, Tanya? You recorded them.
This absolutely brutal to listen to AI voice was used by a Spanish-speaking family in Oklahoma who believes that they captured a Bigfoot family walking through the woods. Whatever it is, you can definitely see the eye shine and that there is more than one. Man, that first one, the height of that thing, that looks big. If this isn't some type of Bigfoot, what do we think this could be? And you might have to listen to it on mute because the AI voices, honestly, I think they're more brutal than the AI videos and clips and pictures. Speaking of AI, well, actually, I don't know that this is AI, but it's not real. I saw some other people trying to pass this off as actually being a real Sasquatch. It's just not. I will say, this is impressive, whatever it is. If this is a costume or if it is AI, it is crazy looking. And I'd love to have a Bigfoot encounter, like I would love it, but this guy would be the opposite of what I would want to see at my back door. This guy looks like he's out for blood. I don't know, maybe this is from a movie. I know it's been making its rounds, but I'm not going to pretend it's real.
Did that just get you?
No.
You sure?
Yep.
At first glance, this clip looks pretty benign. You hear the people talking and the guy says,
Did that just get you?
No.
You sure?
Yep.
and when we slow the video down, there's an apparition or a mist-like figure that runs right between the two. What the heck is this? I believe this video was taken in Australia, so if you have any insight, fill the rest of us in. Of course I've heard of the Yowie, but this isn't that. Anyhow, I need more information ASAP. Out in the backcountry, researchers stumbled across something that froze them in place. A structure that looked nothing like natural deadfall. It was tucked beneath a cluster of pine trees. Heavy logs leaned against the trunks in a triangular pattern, forming a kind of roof with a dark hollow underneath. The structure wasn't random. The branches and trunks had been dragged and stacked with clear intent. This wasn't wind damage or some haphazard pile. This was designed. The research team debated quietly. Who built this? Sometimes they'll create blinds, but this was miles from any marked trail. Some thought it could be a crude shelter that someone was using to sleep in. But again, pretty far from civilization. Two of the guys in the group mentioned that this looks like an ambush blind, the kind of spot where something or someone might crouch low and watch the clearing beyond. One of those guys pointed out how the opening faces the most open stretch of forest, almost like it was positioned to monitor movement across the field. Another noted how the logs had been stripped and angled in ways that would have taken enormous strength to move alone. The unsettling idea emerged. What if this wasn't human at all? In Bigfoot reports, people often describe similar lean-to structures, built from massive timber no person could lift without equipment. So, is it a resting place, a watch post, maybe even a warning? Standing there, the researchers felt the silence of the woods pressing in. Whatever built it hadn't just thrown some sticks together. It had thought about angles, about concealment. And that raised the chilling possibility. If it was meant as a shelter, was the builder still nearby? A video posted by Salish Sasquatch recounts a story of a man being surrounded by multiple Bigfoots. Check this out.
And I woke up to popping right here along through the trees. I heard two things rotating my truck, 180 in my pickup. When this one was moving, that one wasn't. When that one was moving, this one wasn't. Then they started talking. They started communicating. Just I could do it the best I can. And woo, 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 I'd shine a light and it'd stop. When that tree was breaking, you heard it splintering. Crack, 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 crack. When it hit the ground, you felt the percussion come through, and all of a sudden, that thing, and it 10 times louder.
Yeah, let me know what you think about that. And also, that guy did a pretty good impersonation of Bigfoot calls. Out in the dense Oregon woods, tucked away on private land where no one else should be, a strange structure catches the eye. The YouTube channel Jailbreak Overlander finds something that at first glance looks like something hunters might throw together, a duck blind maybe. But as the camera zooms in, it becomes clear. This isn't a simple pile of brush. He explains this is deliberate. It looks crafted.
So the further I walked up to investigate it, and the owner's already heard multiple Sasquatches talking around him. He said one sounded like a female, one sounded like a big male, one sounded like a child. So I start coming out here, looking around, and I see these right here. It looks like somebody made this, like they wove it together. They made a duck blind type thing. So I come up here and I'm looking around and I see that, and I see another one, and I realize that not only does it look like a duck blind, but it's hollow inside. See? This is on super private property. Ain't nobody around. But it's like a living space in here. See what I mean?
Now, what really throws things off is what's nearby. Scattered around the front of this woven shelter are bones. Not small ones either. Large vertebrae, thick, huge leg bones. The kind you'd expect to see in a butcher shop, not lying in the dirt miles away from anywhere. The guy filming can hardly believe it. He literally just keeps muttering, crazy, crazy, crazy. The landowner, who has already claimed to hear multiple Sasquatch voices on the property, deep tones, a female voice, even one that sounded like a child, led him to this spot. Now seeing the bent and twisted trees pulled into position, woven together in what looks like sleeping quarters, the pieces begin to fit. This shelter isn't accidental, it's housing something. Overlander points out trees that don't even belong in the area, hauled over and tied down as part of the structure. Inside, the space is hollow, room enough for something to crawl in, hide, or even live. And right outside of this, again, bones lay scattered like leftovers from a meal. So what do you think? Could this woven structure hidden deep in Oregon near Coos Bay actually be a Sasquatch nest? Is there another explanation for the bones, the bent trees, and the eerie voices reported in this specific area? Drop your thoughts below. I'm curious to hear where you land on this one. A Reddit user that goes by the name of CuddlyWuddly0 posted this clip, and I just thought it was incredible. I'd love to know where they caught this. Look at this. We have a bear, a wolf, a raven, and I guess you could say a fish, a salmon, all caught in this short little clip. On top of this just being a really cool clip, I'm going to read to you what another Reddit user posted. Upstairs Bit 6897 wrote, "The relationship between ravens and wolves is a fascinating example of mutualism in the wild. Ravens often follow wolf packs and alert them to potential prey or carcasses by circling overhead or vocalizing. This can help wolves locate food more efficiently. On the other hand, wolves leave behind leftovers from their kills, which provide ravens with an important food source. Ravens are scavengers and rely on these scraps to survive, especially in harsh environments where food is scarce. Ravens sometimes ride on wolves or walk alongside them. Ravens are intelligent birds and have been observed to communicate or coordinate with wolves in subtle ways. Wolves generally tolerate the presence of ravens near their kills, sometimes even allowing them to feed before the wolves finish. Ravens sometimes hang around wolf dens and cubs, seemingly intrigued by the young wolves' movements and sounds. They are even observed to play with the wolf cubs in a gentle way. Not just that, ravens may act as early warning signals for wolf packs. When there's danger near the den, ravens' loud calls might alert adult wolves to threats. I think crows and foxes do something similar to this. Anyhow, that was a mouthful, but I just thought it was cool. And a bit of a side note, I didn't notice this until I was editing the video. What are these big bags of rocks doing here? Did anyone else notice these? Maybe they're building some type of bulkhead or just trying to strengthen the area around the water. Now, I'm not sure if I've shown you all this clip, but the backstory is that I was looking for a specific clip online, and it was a supposed rake, the cryptid, a rake in a tree. I heard there was a longer video of it, and I wanted to check it out. Well, this was one of my options.
That's how you get a rake out of a tree.
Well, I got what I asked for. It's said that these men in Kazakhstan have found a large doorway into this mountain. Some are saying that it's used by the military, and more than a few are saying that this is definitely aliens, that it would be a great place for them to store their aircraft. What say you guys? Care to take a guess? Check out this former Oregon councilman who claims he caught something on camera that most people wouldn't even believe. Another massive stone doorway in the mountains that opened.
There, right up there. That thing was open. It opened completely up, and then it closed back up. And there's a little slot in it right up there. You can see that little slot where it looked like somebody was staring out of. Dude, giants are freaking real. I don't care what anybody says.
On TikTok, he goes by RDB Cell. His real name is James Goebel. And while driving through Quartzville near Green Peter Reservoir, he spotted a strange rock formation. At first glance, it looked like a solid cliff face, but James swears it opened up, just like a door. He filmed it, posted the video, and within hours it went viral. Then it vanished. James followed up with another clip, clearly shaken, saying he was being stalked.
Anyway, we just been staying kind of low key. When I wake up in the morning and I'm going, this is what I run into. It's down the road. And then sometimes it's up the other side of the road. And sometimes it just follows me around town. And there's a white truck that does the same thing.
At one point saying, dude, giants are freaking real. I don't care what anybody says. He later returned to the site with his wife, and things took a darker turn. The couple panics, the wife is crying, and they rush back down the hill.
I don't know what that was. It's that same thing. But I swear to God, there was something standing right there. Go! Just get going. I don't know what but just get going.
So what's really happening in Quartzville? Some say the door is nothing more than a quarry rock or dam access. Others argue it resembles ancient portals, like some that have been found in Peru. And then there are those who believe James truly stumbled onto something that was never meant to be filmed. Something the government doesn't want you to see. So, was this a stage stunt? Is this just a natural formation? Is this nothing more than that? Is this just a rock? Or is there a possibility he filmed some type of secret?
I know what I think it is, but it's 60 to 80 feet tall, 60, 80 feet across at a wedge shape.
It seems like a lot of people are seeing massive creatures, giants even.
In our world where people dang near talk through emojis, I thought this was fitting. I just picture the snake, you know, singing, "Don't worry, be happy," and then bites you, so. Nevertheless, super cool markings.
Oh, the tree fell. David, the tree just fell.
You all right? Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, wow. I saw it, guys. I think charged at me.
I heard something. This is new.
Yeah, look at this.
It's fresh too.
Been no storms of this caliber. You know what it did? It hopped this, went under and or that way and on.
Look, the tree's still shaking.
It's left. Look at that. Look at this. See that break?
Yeah.
On the tree. Y'all heard it, didn't you?
Yeah, it sounded like something
Dude,
was
it
charging.
charged right at me. I saw a shadow figure and then it ran off this way.
What do you guys think about this clip? It comes from a pretty reputable channel. I just can't really tell. It almost feels like, I won't say disingenuine, but kind of one of those instances where you just see things that you want to fit into what's happening and everyone's getting hyped up about it. Everyone's feeding off each other and just mayhem. But I'll treat this as it being completely real, but I'd love to know what you guys think. This clip is insane, and I actually thought this was AI the entire time until I got to the end, so check this out. A massive grizzly bear just starts chasing this biker on this trail. I mean, these guys can run 35 miles per hour. He keeps looking back and the bear's still there. I mean, you would have thought I was Lance Armstrong out there. And then there's this branch. He has to dismount and try to hide. Luckily, a nearby hunter fires his rifle, scares the bear away. Now, I can't imagine the hunter saw this going down and fired the rifle. I think that it was just a shot off in the distance that ultimately might have saved this guy's life. Anyhow, back to the part about it being AI. I really did. The way it was running, the way it was just stayed on the trail, just didn't seem real. But look at these missing patches. These missing patches of hair on the bear. Now, I'm not positive, but I don't think the AI whatever would put those on the bear. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. I mean, I'd be scared to death. Reddit user Taden Tracker posted these photos on the cryptid subreddit. He explains that his great uncle took these photos out in the woods on his farm in northwestern Wisconsin, somewhere back around 1984. His uncle had a long military career which he rarely spoke about, but this video and these photos, he loved to talk about. The clips have been lightened and slowed down, and while they don't provide much more evidence or clarity, we can see some eye shine in the video. To me, the potential Bigfoot running does look more like a man, but I'm curious to your thoughts. I think it is strange that the uncle wanted to talk about this all the time. It must have really made an impression on him. Imagine driving down a dark North Carolina back road and spotting what looks like a bleeding man in a Civil War uniform. You call 911, then realize it's not human. And worst of all, it's now in the back of your truck. This happened in Pender County along Highway 210. A young driver named Tony was headed home after midnight.
Pender County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River, and I thought I saw a guy standing on the side of the road bleeding.
Okay, where are you at, sir?
I'm on 210. I just crossed the Black River. I'm heading towards 53 East. I just passed Patriots Watch.
Okay, so you're over near Morse Creek?
Yes.
Okay. And did you saw a man standing on the side of the road? What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
Sir, are you okay, sir?
There's something in the bed of my truck!
Okay, what's in the road?
No, it's not in the road, it's in my truck. In the bed.
There's something in the bed of your truck?
Yes, ma'am, I just turned on my bed lights for my truck and there's something in my bed.
Okay, sir, when you say something, what do you mean?
I just knocked it off of the bed of my truck and went over my roof.
Okay, what was it?
Tony slammed on the brakes and the creature flew over the hood. It stood up, easily over 7 feet tall. It took another look at Tony before it bolted into the woods.
It is very hard to listen to that call, to that 911 tape, without becoming somewhat unnerved. It actually bothered me the first time that I heard it. According to the CAD notes and the deputy reports, this thing jumped into the back of his pickup truck and began to actually beat on the top of the cab of his truck. You could actually hear something beating on the top of the truck. The caller stated that it was beating and scratching on the top of the cab of his truck. He actually stated that he was able to engage his bed light and was able to somewhat identify this object that was in the back of his truck. At some point, he was able to slam on his brakes, and the force of inertia actually threw this thing out over his hood and onto the highway, where this thing stood up in the roadway, made its way to the wood line, and disappeared in the woods.
Locals say that stretch of road near the battlefield has long carried strange stories. Most of them avoid it at night, and Tony says he'll never drive on it ever again. So what do you think Tony encountered? The rake? A ghost? Dogman? Something else entirely? I'd love to know where you land on this one. Look, I get that this is helping the ravens grow up and strong and ultimately be released back into the wild, but this is creepy. This is downright scary. Look at this thing. First of all, the actual raven, the baby raven, looks like a savage. And then look at the guy with the bird head. These are the type of things that nightmares are made of. Another bit of nightmare fuel from this same subreddit. I gotta get off this subreddit. Look at this cat. This thing has 3 eyes. Is this cute? Like, it looks cute and then has a 3rd eyeball. Ay caramba. I'd be interested if anyone's ever seen this in real life. And how did you discover it had a 3rd eye? This little cub is about to make a big mistake. He thinks he's bringing this beautiful salmon to his mother. But instead of getting a pat on the back, he quickly realizes that this isn't his mom. But you best believe she's close by. I think a couple nice lessons were learned in this clip. Also, look how quickly that bear scampered up that tree. I don't even really know what to say about this. I do feel like this is one of those situations where if you were to know the enormity of what's happening, you'd mess it up. Or in this case, you'd fall over and likely get attacked. I truly believe she's better off not knowing that that bear was chasing her. On the flip side of that, I almost feel like this would give me some type of awkward PTSD, like I was so oblivious to what's going on that I didn't see a grizzly bear chasing me down the ski slopes. Well, 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 in Norfolk, Nebraska, this isn't something you see every day. Officers received calls from drivers saying that a man has a cow in his car. Responding officers thought that they were going to see a baby calf, but it turns out this was a gigantic bull. The guy did receive some tickets and was made to take the bull home, but other than that, I believe the case is closed. Let's rewind and take a little look-see back at this part. Okay. I mean, can you imagine this hitting your windshield? Where's all this mud coming from? Yeah, that ain't mud. Heartfelt video alert. A man and his friend were walking through the woods when they heard this horrible screeching sound. What they found on the other end of that was a lynx caught in a barbed wire fence. The men didn't know what they were going to do, but they knew what they had to do, and that was to try to help free this animal. They threw this tarp over its head in hopes to calm it, and after a little struggle, they were able to free the exhausted lynx. The two men could immediately tell that there was something wrong when they put the animal on the ground. It could barely move. They decided to scoop the animal up, take it to a vet, and sure enough, its left femur was broken. One of the guys decided he and his wife would nurse it back to health. Of course, they were sad after releasing it, but a couple weeks later, they say the same lynx brought its cubs up to their home. Maybe to show them off, maybe to say thank you. The lynx and her family would visit ever so often, until the cubs grew up to be independent. Pretty cool story of a man helping an animal and the animal coming back to repay him. I just really can't believe these are being passed off. This isn't even close. This isn't even a good try. I wonder which platform this comes from, because I've seen this same exact type of template used on multiple videos. The worst part is, if you read the comments, some people believe it. Some people believe this. Then you have this big, bad, beautiful beast. Look at this thing. Golly, I love the smoky black color of these. Here we go. Let's do a comparison. Look at this. Derp, derp, derp. Brent Lastinger posted this supposed Black Panther sighting that he caught in Georgia. Some people are just saying this is a big black cat, and the perspective of the picture is making it appear bigger. I don't think so. I really don't. I mean, I guess it could be fake, but one thing it's not a black house cat. I mean, we have to agree on that, right? Look at the tail of this thing. Look at the head. I mean, I guess it could be an AI photo, or even, I don't know, photoshopped on there maybe. But it ain't a black house cat. I really hope this part of the video makes it through the copyright search, but because I originally found this clip on Reddit, but then I found out this guy has a YouTube channel. It's called Casual Geographic. It is awesome, so check it out. But listen to this clip about the lions.
Let's talk about the fact that there was a special breed of jacked steroid lions living in Africa. Well, kinda. So there's a part of Africa where the Okavango River meets the Kalahari Desert, resulting in the oasis known as the Okavango Delta, which is basically a Whole Foods for animals of all kinds. Here's where the lions come in. Basically, some years ago, a bunch of lions got stuck on an island when a river changed course and isolated them from the mainland. But instead of folding, the lions started adapting to survive there. Instead of avoiding the water, the lions would willingly wade and swim through the flooded wetlands. And they survived by hunting the only animal that was available at the time: Cape buffalo. That is a Cape buffalo, an assault charged with legs so on sight that hunters nicknamed it Black Death. And they're so dangerous that lions usually won't hunt them if they have another choice. These lions had no choice, so they became buffalo hunters. Instead of hunting at night like lions usually do, these lions would go grocery shopping during the day while the buffalo would stop to graze and drink. These lions would swim and hide in the waters at the right spot and then pretty much just jump them. And since buffalo can weigh well over 1,000 pounds, the better they got at hunting them, the more the lions got to eat. All that extra protein meant these lions got swole. And lions are pretty jacked to begin with. The average male lion usually weighs anywhere from 300 to 500 pounds, while females are slightly smaller at like mid 200s to mid 300s. Well, according to researchers, the lionesses in the Okavango could flex nearly 400 pounds, while the males allegedly tapped out at well over 500. That is a big cat. At the time, some would even say the biggest cats in all of Africa. SparkNote's version, there were basically lions with SEAL training specialized in murking 1,200-pound temper tantrums for a living, all while staying natty.
On a quiet evening in February of 2023, Senior Chief Petty Officer Alexandra Wiggins stood watch aboard the USS Jackson off the coast of Southern California. He thought it would be another routine night of monitoring radar screens and checking reports. But what unfolded would shake him and his crew out of that routine completely. Wiggins, a seasoned Navy operations specialist, was moving between the ship's communication hub and the bridge. The area was familiar, the duties standard. Then something unusual appeared. Out of the ocean's surface, a glowing tic-tac shaped object suddenly emerged. It wasn't alone for long. 3 more objects joined it, all moving with precision, as if synced together. Then, in an instant, the 4 of them shot off in unison, accelerating so fast they seemed to vanish. Wiggins later told the committee, "I observed no sonic boom, no exhaust plume, no signs of propulsion. Nothing matched the aircraft profiles I've worked with my entire career." To top it off, radar confirmed what the crew saw, and just as quickly, those tracks were gone.
On the evening of February 15th, 2023, at approximately 19:15 PST, in the Whiskey 291 warning area off the coast of Southern California, I was serving on board USS Jackson. During that period, I moved between the Interior Communications Center, ICC-1, and the bridge wing, correlating the sensor picture with visual observations, part of my routine responsibilities for surface and air picture management. What I observed and what our crew recorded was not consistent with conventional aircraft or drones as they appear on our system. A self-luminous tic-tac shaped object emerged from the ocean before linking up with 3 other similar objects. The 4 then disappeared simultaneously with a high synchronized, near instantaneous acceleration.
Inside the control center, the encounter was captured across multiple sensors, complete with time and location overlays. Wiggins says this is important. This is not left up to perception. This is hard data. And it wasn't the first time Wiggins had seen strange activity in this region. Reports of similar objects in these waters had circulated for years. Wiggins wasn't trying to sell a theory. He kept his words grounded. This is about safety, transparency, and fairness. If objects capable of impossible maneuvers appear near US ships and aircraft, that puts crews at risk. He's in front of Congress to push for 3 things. Safety first. Crews must have checklists and training to capture sensitive data in real time. The freedom to report. Sailors shouldn't feel retaliation for speaking up about what they see. The last one, transparency. Where possible, evidence should be declassified to build public trust. And in his closing statement, he finished with a simple request. Help protect the data, protect the witnesses, and take these encounters seriously. So tell me, if you were sitting on that committee, would you push for full transparency? Or are you thinking some things should remain classified?
Today, I want to state clearly that this is not science fiction or creating speculation. This is about national security, government accountability, and the American people's right to the truth.
What if the next world war wasn't sparked by a rival nation, but by something unknown flying in our skies? That's the warning journalist George Knapp delivered to Congress. He described a leaked military video where a US drone fired a Hellfire missile at a glowing orb. What was supposed to be a decisive strike instead turned into a nightmare scenario. The missile didn't explode on impact, it bounced right off. The orb kept moving like nothing happened, and seconds later, 3 more unknown craft appeared trailing behind it. Knapp said this confrontation almost triggered a catastrophic misunderstanding between superpowers, a chain reaction that could have led to World War III.
There's a whole bank of these kind of videos that Congress has not been allowed to see, that the public hasn't been allowed to see. Occasionally some of that stuff gets out in the wild and it comes our way. It should be going to you. The public should be seeing this stuff. And why you're not allowed to, I don't know. But that's a Hellfire missile smacking into that UFO and just bounced right off. And it kept going.
It kept going, and it looks like the debris was taken with it.
Yeah, what the hell is that? The public has been told over and over since the late 40s there's nothing to worry about here. These mysterious craft seen by millions of people in the skies, in the oceans, over the land are not real. They're not a threat. The witnesses are wrong. They're crackpots. Don't believe it.
When lawmakers pressed military witnesses on whether any known technology could survive a direct hellfire strike, the answers from the top 3 witnesses were chilling. No, nothing to my knowledge, and one witness refused to answer outside a classified facility.
We're going to have a conversation this Skip for that, whether I'm legally even allowed to answer that and whether you're even allowed to hear it, sir.
The question is, are these craft truly unknown, or is this event being used to distract us from something bigger? What's your take? Could an unidentified craft really deflect a Hellfire missile? And if so, how close are we to a conflict none of us are prepared for? I'd love to know your thoughts below.